Ladies and gentlemen, come on in the room. Noontime, stand in line at Chick-fil-A, getting your cheesesteak, your hoagie somewhere, getting your salad, getting your whatever lunch or something. Or if you're all home with them cheering inside of school, join in the discussion between Sundays. Darren Brister, Jay Morris, Keith Pelzer, and at times special guest. Who there? Let's go, people. Oh, we got stuff lined up for today?
Yeah. I actually just texted you 2 comments from last week.
I like it. You seem ready already, bro. I like it. All right, I see y'all coming in the room. Come on in. Come on in the room. See how you get to the key, Jay. Come on in the room. Yeah.
That's it right there.
My Lord.
That's how you do it.
Don't call the key out. Just go there.
Just go there.
Just go there. Don't call the key out. Just go there.
Oh, man.
My goodness. All right. You about ready, Darren?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he ready. All right. You know how folk, they show up when they show up.
CP time.
CPT time. Okay, let me see. Is this the right button? That's the right button. Let me make sure my button working. That's the button right there. Make sure y'all can see my hands and face here too. Red flags. Y'all see that?
Yep.
Red flag.
Red flag is now in session.
I should put red flags part. Wait. Let me see if I can get my hand over. Right there. Red flags.
Kev Hammond, what's up, dude?
Yeah, shout them out. Who coming in the room? See who coming in the room.
Yeah.
Tell them. All right, I'm drop this music down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Thursday. Last week, we had a great Thursday because we were in the room with our brother Henry, right? Henry
Haley.
He came in the room last week and we had a good time. It was the evening edition. And so let us know in the comment section, does the evening feel good for you as well? Because look, I don't mind. We can do afternoon and evening. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Yep. And then we can have pinch hitters if one of these guys got a roll. And if somebody can't make it in the morning, we can have Darren come up in the morning with it. Somebody fill in for Jay. And then we have Jay come at night. Somebody fill in for Darren. We can do whatever we doing, y'all. You understand what I'm saying?
That's how we do.
Kevin Hammond, you better play organ. He play organ?
He definitely plays.
Because his name is Hammond. So he got Hammond. You can Hammond.
I think it was named after him.
Right.
She had it in mind.
Hammond, you know what I mean? He's like the B3, C3, Hammond, you know what I'm saying? A100 Hammond. And then you got Kev Hammond. Amen, somebody.
Okay,
All right. So, but whoever else is out there and as y'all tune in, good to see y'all. Happy Thursday to everybody. Pray my strength and pray my family's strength. There's lost in our family a great woman of God who I will shout out, and that is none other than my auntie, Aunt Glow. And so keep my family in prayer. Nonetheless, we are leading up to a reason why we are joyful and in victorious mode in spite of any and everything that we go through. These are healthy conversations between Sunday, the musician's voice. But the musician's voice is not a whole voice without understanding ministry. And so these two wonderful gentlemen that I have here at the table are experienced in ministry, in the faith, sons of God, amen, children of God, amen. And so they're saved because their wives are saved. You're like, alright.
Look, allegedly.
But
Sometimes I wonder, boy.
I can't wait for the episode to just put the wives at the table.
You don't want to put
It's
the wives
coming.
on. That's
it's coming.
gosh. Oh gosh.
It's coming.
Not them three together. Together.
Oh, yeah. All three of them together.
Oh, God.
We got to do it.
I'm gonna say this one thing, and I'm gonna turn this over to our brother Darian. Keep our brother Zach Williams in prayer.
Yeah.
Zach Williams, victory. We claim victory and healing in advance. And
Absolutely.
so I'm saying this because you can go to his page and see this picture. I forgot I took the picture. Y'all see that picture I took of Zach?
Yep.
Yeah, I took that picture on Sunday. Shout outs to Rob Elliott and his wonderful wife Jasmine. They had baby blessing on Sunday, and I got to church and was taking pictures of the musicians. And so they were worshiping in song, and I caught Zach in a moment. And so that picture, I forgot that was in there. And so Rob took that picture and Zach got it and they posted it. And so I love that picture, and we're looking forward to seeing Zach, amen, in that same position on the other side of through. I'm going to turn it over to my brother and my friend, the one and only Darian Brister.
All right, guys, welcome back.
Welcome.
We on episode 9, Between Sundays, a platform where we offer perspectives of the modern church ministry operation and the many nuances therein from the lens of worship, arts, and multimedia personnel. And so we're still tied up in this topic, red flags, which I think has yielded some very, very great and fruitful conversation. Before we jump back in, as we always do, we want to start with a few comments that we may not have been able to tackle from a previous episode. As you're coming in, please share this to your Facebook pages. If you have not already liked and followed the Between Sundays Facebook page, please do. We appreciate your support. Comment from last week. The first one we want to start with is from Mrs. Enon Brister. And this is a very, I believe, very important but under talked about issue that she asked. And the comment was, how do you guys think you can invest in the younger female musicians? I'll read that again. How do you guys think you can invest value in the younger female musicians? Again, very, very important and crucial issue here that is under talked about, underexposed. For me, I think here's where it starts, and this is going to be it's going to be regional in terms of the lens of the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, tri-state area.
Vicinity.
There you go. So I think part of the equation is that we don't see in our churches, we don't see a lot of female musicians.
Right.
We don't. Even in comparison to, other regions of the country, I think we see very, very little female musicians in the church. Now, my oldest daughter, who is 13, she is learning drums. And so this question kind of comes out of, the struggle of, getting her in, some good and beneficial, instructional environments. Because as many musicians as we have in our churches, male or female, we don't really have a lot of environments, for instruction, development, and things of that nature. And not to be, this is going to sound separatist, but at her age, at 13, I think the zeal for her would be seeing more females.
Most definitely.
Where, she is trying to learn to aspire to. But because you don't see that now it kind of, it makes the equation of, not only investing value, but also building up and getting more female musicians involved in the church. It makes it a bit difficult. You know, going back along my journey, I'm just thinking about from a drummer's perspective. I'm thinking about the drummers, the female drummers that I have come across and have known. I don't, in more than almost 30 years of playing, there's like 3 or 4 names that come up.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
There's 3 or 4 names that come up, and 2 of which are no longer really playing. They have moved on to preaching. So yeah, this it really is one of those very difficult questions that there is no quick and there is no, okay, this is what needs to be done and we'll start to see results immediately. This is one of those things where I believe we have to keep conversating about it to work toward an answer. To work toward an answer. Because again, in terms of me saying, okay, I believe if A, B, C, and D, if we were to do A, B, C, and D, then we would get, E, F, and G. I don't, when it comes to this, I don't think it's that simple. And again, for me, it starts with, the visibility of female musicians, at least in our area, not in the church, not being very great. We just don't see many of them at any age in church. We just don't. And so the question is, well, how do we change that? How do we change that? And I think a lot of what we've dialogued recently about can be something that leads in that direction. And what I mean by what I'm talking about, what we've been dialoguing about, is the culture. Because again, we talked about this a lot last week, where in our churches that there's not a lot of development spaces and development environments. So, if the musicians are just, the musicians that are playing, that are skilled, that are gifted, if it's kind of just, for the most part, a play and dash, then it's like, okay, how can they even get close enough, for that process to even begin? Even if they're curious about it, how can they get close enough if we, as the current generation, the gifted, the skilled, we playing and dashing, as soon as rehearsal's done, we are right out the door. And outside of Sunday morning service and rehearsal, there's nothing going on musically at the church that's not a service or an event. So before I pass this to you, Jay, the first thing that comes to mind in terms of investing value, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is that the leaders, the musical leaders of our churches, we have to start strongly considering development in the scope of how we run our music ministries. We have to, that has to be an important part of the whole scope, because that's going to give the opportunities for particularly those who are younger, at my daughter's age or even younger. That's going to give them the opportunity to maybe bud their curiosity.
Right.
That's going to give them, but if there is nothing in the way of, a development and sharing or training environment, if there's nothing along that way, and we believe that all the training happens in rehearsals, then it's going to be hard for us to invest value, younger female or male. Jay, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah. So let me start with this. In my opinion, like, we're staying in our region. From what I've seen, the music scene is very chauvinistic, male dominated. One of the first that I remember seeing female musicians ever is Twinkie Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I remember, and so even then, I remember listening to her as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that she was a man, like
Yeah.
not by looks, but I didn't see
By
her,
sound.
but her sound,
Yeah.
because I was so used to seeing guys playing that well.
Yes.
Most, not to say there aren't any wonderful, great, talented female musicians, but at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear female musicians that were well taught.
Yeah.
And so Twinkie, when I heard her, she came out the box like Mike Tyson. Like she came out flying. So I'm sure in her growth,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a male dominated industry, I'm sure she had to go through some situations to be as good as she was, because she earned respect from a lot of musicians through the years.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, whoa, this lady is playing this organ.
Mm-hmm.
And so they named her the Queen of the Hammer, and she really is, because at that time you didn't hear many, if any, that was on radio.
Yeah.
That was video and Bobby Jones and all that. You didn't hear of female musicians actually going that far.
Mm-hmm.
You always heard of female musicians that were singers.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't hear female musicians that were bass players.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You heard maybe saxophone, maybe trumpet, but in the church realm, you didn't have, at least I didn't see. I didn't see any young ladies sitting next to gentlemen on the organ learning skill as much as I saw young men.
Correct.
So I don't know whether they just didn't, the gentlemen didn't take them seriously enough to invest in them.
Yeah.
Or you don't see young ladies sitting by the drums while another lady is playing, or by another guy is playing. So I think we were talking about that last time as investments.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
No.
So when young ladies like your daughter come up, they have, it's hard for them to see anybody that's like them actually doing well, that they can look up to and say, okay, without going out the scope of church, like Sheila E. or something like that.
Exactly.
But other than that, inside the church, we just don't see that often. Now, nowadays you see women playing the organ because, Twinkie broke that mold.
Yeah.
So, but even in the 80s, it was, if a woman was playing the organ or piano, like my aunt, it was because she was there. And she just happened to know maybe 2 keys.
Yeah.
And happened to help the church because they couldn't afford a musician. It wasn't like a situation where it was a paid situation, or she was just that good.
Yeah. So, Pels, I want to get your thoughts, but let me shout out, because what I don't want, I do not want even the slightest stench that there's a suggestion to say that there are not female musicians.
Oh,
in
no.
our
Definitely
area.
not.
There's definitely amazing female musicians.
I do not want that to even be a stench. So let me shout out some people from our area, going all the way back to Dr. Lenora Young.
Ooh, yes.
Going all the way back there.
Definitely.
You put her on the Hammond and she will take you to school.
Yes, she will.
Eric just named somebody else that I was about to name, Dr. Becky Carlton. But even going to the realm of drummers, a young lady by the name of Tiffany Blaine, and even Charnel Blaine, who she plays drums when she wants to, and keys. There are female musicians in our area, so I do not want to suggest that there are not in our areas. Yes, shout out to Pastor Arlene Mills on organ. Absolutely.
Not to interrupt you, bro, but just let me clarify what I was trying to say, especially in our churches, they're not. The female musicians were not as marketed,
Yeah.
publicly,
Yeah.
as the males.
I
They were
got you.
there,
Yeah.
but they were in small sectors of the church, and you barely knew about them. But now that we have internet and everything, and now
Yeah.
that you can see everything online, we know more
Yeah.
about a lot of them that have always been.
Absolutely.
So shout out to the female. I just
And-
didn't want to send that message out that there were
Yeah.
none, because there's a lot in that area.
And I want to shout out 2 more, and then Pels, I want to get your thoughts. Bass player out of Jersey, Sabrina Banks.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sweet little baby Jesus.
Mhm.
And someone who considers himself a mentee of mine that plays organ and keys. Her name is Janae Booker.
Mm.
We call her Sway. She's also very, very dynamic.
Yeah.
Pels, any thoughts?
Yeah. So a couple of things there. I like what these guys have said. Here's something here. Eric Charles puts, I believe music class in school was what drew me to music. And my mother saw that and invested in me, and it shouldn't just be in the church.
Mm-hmm.
One of these things that I thought about as you guys were talking, when I grew up, we had a female musician named Sister Ethel Clark.
Okay.
And Ethel Clark understood the culture of our church, and she was the one to rise to the occasion because of her growth outside of the 4 walls.
Mm.
So one of the remedies that I would throw out there is, and I know Darian and Enon knows this, it's like if your daughter puts an interest in playing, you put her in the environments, especially if the church doesn't provide it, right?
Mhm.
So let's just say the church has 4 male drummers, and they're good because they understand the culture of the church, but they may only be learning shout music, whereas the path of a John Roberts,
Mm-hmm.
your daughter now knows how to play jazz.
Yeah.
She knows how to play classical. She knows how to play this, that, and third. And them other 4 boys don't know how to do it because they were like me, that I knew hymns.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a little bit how to read, but I open the hymn book because I'm learning how to read.
Mm-hmm.
I open the hymn book because I'm getting lessons at home, and we're about to do Pass Me Not, and I guess it's in B flat maybe or something, whatever key it's in.
Yeah.
My knowledge fails me. I'm playing it there, and the deacon is in a different key.
Mm-hmm.
So now transposing, I don't have the button, so
Yeah.
I gotta take my ear
Mm-hmm.
and I gotta kind of sight read what this is about to do and see what it goes as sharp right there or something like that.
Yeah.
I have to translate all of this, and the demand on me to play calls me to understand the culture and not the class of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So what I watch other children have the advantage of is because there was no room for the culture of it, they were classed by it. And when they were classed by it in the culture, not being able to play in the culture,
Mhm.
but it was sinking in, the culture was sinking in with their class,
Yeah.
they actually had a more, a bigger advantage on me
Mm-hmm.
because they understood areas that I never had the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
So now to answer this, one of the remedies, because we're just having a conversation, one of these remedies is, how do you guys think you can invest value in the younger female musicians?
Mm-hmm.
The misconception will be is we try to look for it in the church.
Mhm.
And if we try to look for it in the church, we got so many problems in the church and the demands on people that we won't find it. So now when you get back at home, the other problem at home is most parents, when they listen to their children, the girls want to play this.
Mm-hmm.
They might want to play the flute.
Yeah.
They might want to play stuff. So they're not asking, hey, I want to know how to play keys because I want to be the organist at the church.
Yeah.
So we have to find and lift, and this is no stab at any female players out there now. We have to guard ourselves and understand the red flags of gatekeeping the women's musician area.
Wow.
So it doesn't need to be a highlight. It needs to become a normality of unity.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a special Sunday of women musicians as if it's like just History Month.
Yeah.
It has to be an ongoing relationship
Mm-hmm.
that the musicians that are female that play are totally intertwined and intermingled
Yeah.
with the males, and or if it's an all-woman band, where is that band outside of Women's Month?
Yeah.
Y'all got what I'm
I
saying?
got
Where is
exactly
it
what you're
outside
saying.
of Mother's Day service?
Yeah.
How do we have those random, it's a female band tonight, because that's what's going to encourage the females to jump in. And then we'll see in our church cultures, there is room there.
Yeah.
We're begging for musicians and we looking for dudes to show up. And I'm like, I'll take male, female. You understand what I'm saying? And in today's society, whatever your identity is, come on in.
Yeah.
Like, we need the help. So that's all I got for it, Darren.
Yeah.
That's it.
And let me go back real quickly to a comment Eric Charles made that you had read, Pels. The back end, but he was saying, I believe music class in school is what drew him.
Mm-hmm.
And so the back end, he said, his mother saw that and invested in him. It shouldn't be just on the church. I agree. It should not just be on the church.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the church should do its part.
Yes, definitely.
The church should do its part.
Agreed.
And here's why I'm big on that these days, because Eric is from my generation.
Mm-hmm.
And in our generation, particularly in the Philadelphia public school system, there was music still in the
Yes.
system.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
not the case anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In the Philadelphia, I can only speak for Philadelphia right now,
Mhm.
but in it's nowhere to be found.
I agree.
It's nowhere to be found. And then I can speak at least for the school district that my daughters are in now, which is in Pensacola, New Jersey.
Wow.
You know, music is not. It's not really in the fabric like it once was. So that's why I as a music leader in the church myself, I put it on myself. Okay, I got to do my part to present that opportunity on the church level, so that we're not a reflection of the lack in the school system.
Mm-hmm.
That's my. I do totally agree. It shouldn't just be on the church. I do expect us as the church to do our part.
Wow, that's good.
Last comment that we want to hit for today. This came from Nick Hill.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and he said a few things I've noticed from playing in different houses: a lack of mentoring musicians and mentees. The church's desperate need for musicians allow for subpar or learning musicians to jump to a lead role, which in a way will hinder the house if they can't handle an atmosphere.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And the key word I'm pulling out of that, I want you to hit this first, Jay. But there's a real big word I'm pulling out of this that I'm going to dig into. Desperate. Jay.
So, honestly, the word that you pulled out is the word that I was actually thinking of when I read it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember and remember how we are as a culture.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us were raised in the church that have been going on for years. Let's just establish that.
Oh, yes.
Like anything, it has its flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, I was raised in a church where my aunt was playing for the simple fact there was nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of churches from that point adapted that mindset.
Yeah.
Which is where anybody that has a desire, you don't even have to have the talent. If you have a desire to do it, then come up here. We'll figure it out on the way. Because we just need somebody. And a lot of churches have adapted that same mindset. It don't matter if you can handle it or not. It don't matter if you can really play. Like how many of us, because I know I was just thrown on the piano or the organ, and you'll learn it as you go. You'll learn it as you go.
Yeah.
And instead of actual training Most of us just went by experience. That's why when we say we have 30, 40 years experience in this game, we really do. Because there's nothing that can happen in a situation, in a service that we either have not personally been through or have personally handled. We all in this room have been in these type of situations. So we all had churches, as Pelzer was mentioned out, that have passed around musicians like NBA players. Because pastors were desperate for musicians, because that's our culture. We need to hear what we want to hear. We want, that is in our mindsets. So do I think it's going to change? Not anytime soon. Because the demand is bigger than the supply. And why is the demand bigger than the supply? It's only bigger than the supply between 11 and 2 p.m. on Sundays. Any other day, I promise you. Call any musician on Monday. I bet you he's available. Call him on Tuesday. But don't call him on Sunday morning between 11 and 2. He's not available. So if you got 3,000 musicians and all of them are playing on Sunday from 11 to 2, it's going to be hard to find somebody for a decent rate. So guess what? As he said, the lack of mentoring, because nobody wants to bring anybody else up. I remember, and I remember, and I'm sure you remember, saying to a musician, hey, how did you do that? I ain't showing you that. What?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
I don't even remember. Man, come on, man. Bruh, like really? Notice I said bruh, not sis. Because that was just our mindsets.
So look, Jeanette, she dropped something
Yes, she
dope
did.
here, right?
Yes, she did.
Experience in training, and I like how she says the church, right? The church doesn't always know or differentiate the differences. I think one thing I want to just throw in here that helps all of us out is I look at myself, right? To an extent, I say I'm skilled, trained, I have tenureship talent, right? And to Jeanette's point, I can identify with the difference between training and experience, right? I've seen that in my growth. But honestly, it's amazing that people will know me and think that I can just jump in the musician corner with the now musicians. And I'm just going to be honest. I can figure it out, but I don't really have it. What I mean by that is with YouTube and because here's another 300-pound gorilla we leaving out the space. YouTube actually gave a different generational training that the church stopped providing. So when you couldn't sit around the Stephen Fords, the Jimmy Shorts, the Alex Ingrams and different ones, what end up happening is, and we don't really have to fight this, right? We say YouTube University. We can complain about seminary and X, Y, and Z, but the stuff that I paid for in seminary, you can actually get it online for free if you're willing to search. And if anybody say, well, you can't always believe it, well, you can actually fact check it on YouTube and Instagram Google. And Google. Like you can. I wouldn't advise it, but that is the truth. So if that be the case, right? There's a different type of mentorship that happened that, remember, the world actually got bigger. People were talking about going international. It's like, you've been international because somebody in China is your friend. On Facebook, somebody's listening to your ministry in COVID that wouldn't have normally listened to you, right? So you have expanded. So international ain't a flex now to put on your church name. I've been international. So here's the thing. We're grabbing what California style of church is, and somebody walks in a Philadelphia church, implements that. Somebody else says, yo, that was a dope change. We go from the 1 to the 3 to the 8 to the 2 or whatever. And it's like they put the 4 before the 3 over there and this, that, and the third. And you adapt it. That house is now influenced by a house that you ain't in. If you ain't in that internet circle and you just local, You go to the shed and you like, what is y'all doing?
Yeah.
And you know what they doing? What everybody in the group is doing over here. Now, here's the problem. If the pastor and the culture of that house has not experienced what the musician experienced, then the musician is trying to force the culture to conform to the culture of their musical style that the church ain't got. So case in point, and I'm going to drop it here and leave it. No offense, but when you see the praise team is all 55 and up, and they got jeans and t-shirts on and sneakers trying to hop around the stage like Ty Tribbett, I'm done.
Let me shout out some watchers.
Yeah.
Greg Brown Jr., as we said, Jeanette Hines, Eric Charles, Uncle Jimmy, James Short,
Jimmy,
Draymond Ringo, Kevin Curtis, Camille Young, Sylvia Nixon, Cheryl Spinner Vaughn, Rob Speaks, Jared Austin, Kurt Keene, Jeremiah Chase. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
All right, so let me attack this. Because there are some that are going to say that it seems like some of our conversation is talking out of both sides of our mouths. There's some that's going to say, well, you know, you guys talk a lot about the importance of the music to the lifeblood of the church, but then you're also telling us, you know, not to put all this emphasis into trying to keep up with how other churches do musically. That sounds conflicting. And this is where it leads me to. It leads me to that word in the comment, that desperate word. It leads me to say that I believe there are many churches that their desperation is actually delusional.
Wow.
You've created despair where there wasn't really despair.
Boom!
Wow.
Boom!
That's good, bro.
Boom!
Please take that deeper.
Wait, you know why I agree with that? I'm gonna tell you why I agree with that. You ready for why I agree with that?
Go ahead, Reverend.
And Darren, take it right back. It's because, and this is all right. I don't claim this gift of prophetic word and insight to the extent that other people claim they have it. I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say, and I feel is in my spirit. I have this healthy, godly, good fear that what we're facing in our faith is this whole discombobulation of our desire for feel over faith, right? The feel that we're looking for, we're calling it faith, but faith doesn't lean into your feelings.
Yes, sir.
Faith actually is a commitment. Faith, contenders in and of the faith, right? This faith that we have, walking in the faith, those of the faith. Of the faith mean that you know how to deal with the fights that you're going through. And you let go of your feelings. When you think about take them down to the water and see those who are worried about their feelings, send them jokers home. They not kicked out of the army, but you can't fight the battle with them because they get caught up in their feelings. Jesus, we hear about his feelings, but his feelings ran into the fight in the faith of that he had to prove of nevertheless. Not my will, but thine be done. What is the will of God in the church? It's the word first. So the desperation that how Darren brought it up, I love it. And you got to take it back from me before I start preaching. When we look at that word, that green word next to me over there, desperate, the desperation is not the destination, right? In the beginning was the word. The word became flesh, and the word dwelt among us, not the music. When you see music, admonish one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual things, but in the word.
Yeah.
So all of it has to sit around the word. If you strip the music away, you still gotta preach.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you don't preach, you can't just sing people into heaven. You can't sing people to salvation.
No.
Because after they felt the song and the convicting words in the song,
Yeah.
you have to have a conversation. This is why in the R&B world, we like the writers, because we want to know where you get the idea for the thing that you sang.
Yeah.
Because words have meaning. They try to put rappers in jail because of their lyrics, not the beat.
Yeah.
Not the gunshot in the song.
Yeah.
They trying to put him in jail because of what you said.
Yeah.
And they take what you said in the courtroom, not the music that it's on, but the words on the music.
Yeah.
And so if that be the case, we're getting back to a place of, it's not that music stops, but it's almost like a draining and a pulling and a frustration that's going to increase our faith over our feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I try to unpack this desperation that I feel like many of our churches create when it comes to the music department.
Wait, hold on. I apologize.
Let's go ahead.
I love this. I love it, but here's the uneducated statement that we miss. I personally have known musicians that have tried to state their position on an Old Testament fight. When Jesus showed up, we don't find worship teams nor bands until after the cross. I'm just saying that. That's not at you, sis, but I'm saying that for people that their whole thing of coming to church was, you know, they anointed because they went before the battle and they went, that's a fight, and it was killing that happened. Who's getting killed in praise and worship now? Nobody. So we have to be careful of that as a theological basis on the importance of the church, because that's when cats say, you need me. And I want my $500-$600 because I'm anointed, because you need us on the front line. The front line of what? Because according to 1 Corinthians 15, Jesus won the battle that we had to fight. So all roads lead up to, when you get to the book of John, in the beginning was, and the word became flesh. And the woman at the well that was having the conversation, she trying to throw that whole, this is what we do and this is how we do service. And let's just eisegetically say, watch this, Gene, watch this, Sister Hines. Let's just say she parenthetically just dropping out there, you know, the way we do it, we sing and we pray, we shout and we break the walls down and the chains broke and this, that, and the third. No, because if you even try to drop Acts chapter 16 on me, it said that they sang and they sang hymns and they prayed. Praying is words. Praying is unto a God that we have to identify. And when all of that stuff shook and broke loose, what happened? What must I do to be saved? And therein lies the problem. So my sister, I'm just using what she said as a pivotal point for how you see people take these things out of context and think about, what is the warfare when we sing a song, you know, hallelujah, you have won the victory. So if the victory's already won, what is the fight that we need the praise team to do right now? Because the last time I checked, I done heard all the prophet lying about, this is the last week. Turn to your neighbor and say, this the last time that the enemy going so-and-so. Negro, you saying that again 3 weeks later to the same people that you told them Revelation, no more. Until you get to heaven, that's the no more. But until then, we have this treasure in earthen vessels. We are troubled on every side. We are persecuted. We are in this kind of shape. We are in that. But nevertheless, so I shut up and get off the camera on this. Our worship teams and our music ministry is part of the conjunction ministry, not the concluding ministry.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. I felt
awesome,
that. Thank you, sis. I felt that one.
Awesome, fellas. Awesome. Yeah. So when I try to unravel this just a tad bit in terms of the desperation I believe we create in our churches when it comes to music. Here's an example. An example I would ask how many times before we try and identify or hire someone from the outside, how many times do we take a proper assessment of what we already have?
Right.
Or even maybe instead of trying to hire someone to, let's say, be the lead musician or run things every Sunday, how many times do we hire or pay someone to come in and assess what we have? We don't, because why? It's, a lot of times, and I'm trying not trying not to knock on past.
Jay, push it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, push it, Jay.
I'm trying not to knock on past. Yeah, trying not to knock on past.
If you don't say it, I will.
Yeah, trying not to knock on pastors too hard, but okay. A lot of times it's, we heard we were somewhere as the pastor. You were somewhere out, maybe preaching,
Lord,
maybe supporting.
Help the preachers.
And what did you do? You heard the band in somewhere else, or you heard a musician somewhere else. And because of what you heard, then it was almost like a city got built inside your brain.
I never heard it like that. That's good.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's good.
If he wasn't gonna say it, I will.
A city got built inside your brain.
It's like the construction workers just started working. Like, oh no, we need to. I was here, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So we need to start moving in this direction. So we've created despair.
That's right.
And out of that despair, now we are, in essence, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. We're trying to fast track. We're trying to get rich quick.
Desperate.
Our music ministry to a specific point. We don't respect the process.
But brother,
we're in that cycle now.
Look, you know I'm that pin in the cushion. We can't make money if the music ain't right.
you and Dak, you a real pin right there.
Can I be
truthful?
truthful?
I didn't want to bring that
That's the
part
thought.
up. You right.
That's the thought.
We can't make money if the music ain't right. People ain't there for the word. They there for the music.
Oh, that's the thought.
But, okay.
That's the thought process. I'm not saying that's the truth.
That's the thought.
Can I be the other pin?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm guilty of. I tried to. So Jay, hear me out on this.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I've done something like this. I have tried to approach a conversation with musicians I wanted to sow into. Nothing on the musicians. It's not a failed attempt, but it wasn't their fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the church that I was pastoring. But I brought it to, and if the Lord leads me to pastor again, I truly, and here I'm coming for what we on the same page with Janetta, right? Am I saying that right? Janetta, right? Sister Hines. This is crazy. Y'all gonna feel me on this. I agree with what she's saying. I get where she was going. I was just throwing out there for people that take it out of context.
Absolutely.
I take that Old Testament move of ministry and that the purpose of the Levites and those where songs were how can we sing living in a strange land, all of that, and I take that into the New Testament, admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual things. We know the power of music and lifting up and singing praises to our God. Got that? So here's the thing. I believe in investing. Having been a musician, I was fortunate enough to have my father as the pastor, but the people around him didn't understand the value of what he was putting into the musicians. That's why all my musician friends, they like coming through the church and they love my dad. My dad would give you a solo at the church.
Yeah.
I mean, if Aaron Draper came to church, he'd give you a percussion solo. You can get a tambourine solo, a cowbell solo at my church, right? Yeah. And the thing is, I was a little bit more of a perfectionist, but I believed in investing. So to Jay's point, and I'm gonna get back to this point. So the point that Jay said out there, and on the one hand, it's not about the money, but on the other hand, it is because churches now, people are looking for an experience.
Yeah, right.
And so if they're looking for an experience, I think what would help musicians is to understand your value from within you, not so much as worrying about do they see my value, because the right leader is going to see I need to invest in you and you need to invest in this, because if you build a relationship here, we are a sort of covering for you.
Yeah.
And so I try to impose to musicians at the time, you're helping to fill these seats up, just like me preaching.
Yeah.
So if me preaching and a bit of music works with it and leading up to it and setting people up to hear what God gave me to say, worship leaders, singers, all of that, all of us are the team.
Yeah.
Where the deacons are just like, the bills is paid, you know, we got security. Go ahead, preach, Rev. Deacons ain't doing nothing else. They just chilling in 3-piece suits.
Yeah.
But everybody else is active. It's kind of like, if y'all running out the door as soon as it's over, you not even investing or shaking hands with the people that's putting the tithes and offerings in to get your check.
Yeah.
So in a sense, without the music, where the money coming from? Because people are sitting there literally like, yo, the experience ain't working for me.
Yeah.
And so you may lose people because the experience is not what they're looking for. And I'm not pushing it into it's about the money.
Yeah.
But when all people see the economics of it, then you'll look at, if I help you and I'm confident in me, I'm gonna draw people just off of my gift and talent.
Yeah.
And you're drawing people off of your calling, your gift and your talent. So it's going to, by consequence, bring in what we need in the storehouse. So as I give, I receive. And so now when I'm looking for raises and stuff, nobody's looking at you funny because we got it, because we're all in this together. That's the
key. That's the key.
You see what I'm saying?
That's where I'm going.
Okay, go for it.
That's
y'all.
where I'm going. And then I'm throwing it back to you, Jay. Because my thing is, I think we talk a little bit too much about, for instance, the music is one of your biggest drawing cards, and obviously the word is kind of what keeps them and what transforms them. So we kind of itemize that. I would that we get out the culture of trying to itemize it, but just present it as a full package.
Right.
Right.
Not itemize what one does and what the other does. The full package of whatever your worship experience and your church culture is. That is what that full package is what draws, keeps, and transforms. Not itemizing it as if we all went out to group dinner and everybody wants separate checks.
Look at that. Look at that. You summed up what he said.
Yeah.
Because what was your last words you said? That something transforms.
Yeah, the full package draws, keeps, and transforms.
Look at that. I agree with Charles.
Right.
That music does draw people.
Yeah.
Right? It draws people. But it's the word that will change them. So here's my insert. Is it going to Jay? Here's my insert. Yeah. The thing we have to guard ourselves for is people that can build good music ministries that are not honest, that they have not sat before God with the word.
Yeah.
The heart of what is the voice of the man or woman of the house, of the under shepherd of God.
Yeah.
Because you can buy a good music team. You can be a star and influence with a low budget a good music team.
Yeah.
But if the head of the house is not honest before God, you have the draw, right? But you don't have the change effect.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And the fear of what I was trying to say, where we have this fight with faith, with fear that we're dealing with, is the fact of, if you have the word to change, but you fear that you don't have the draw.
Yeah.
You have to trust that the word is actually your draw. Right? Music does draw, but you have to have the mindset that the draw is the word.
Yeah.
And if the word's not drawing, right, then you have to be careful if only the music is drawing.
Yeah.
Because, and you'll know if the music's only drawing, because when the music stops, if the draw starts to disconnect, you understand that there was a magnet to the music, but not the ministry.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big problem.
And that
Go for it.
that will ultimately lead to a dysfunction when it comes to the keeping and transforming process.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Jay.
Now, I'm gonna put another pen in the cushion. Listen, I never read in the Word that when Jesus was preaching, he had talk music behind him.
Dang, Jay. Jeez, bro.
I didn't read it.
Are you a musician or not? Like,
maybe-
what the heck?
Maybe y'all read it.
Are you a musician or not, bro? Like, I mean,
When he preached,
now you talking out both sides.
No. Hold on. I mean, the multitude followed him when he preached because of what he was sharing. Now, so I just want to put it out there that yes, the word definitely will change and transform.
Lying, Robert, what are you talking about?
Here's where I come back in. It seems, I'm not saying this is the case. It seems like because we're such an emotional people, music gets into our emotions and puts us in places that are so satisfying to the spirit that we're willing to give. And you have preachers that know this about us. So they're willing to invest. Some are willing to invest, and yeah, it is a desperate situation because you want it so bad. Like Darian said, you go somewhere and you hear this production. You got a service, but they got a production.
Yeah.
So now you're like, oh, I got to have it. Well, now you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get them here?
Yeah.
Because I need that. Yes, I'm preaching the word. However, with this music team, I can double my finances for the church because we go where there's good music. It is what it is. We do. There's a well-known church in Philadelphia. Well, there was that we went to, and I ain't gonna say that because y'all know it. That we went to because of the musicians that were there.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. No, that's honesty.
We went there.
Okay, if you talking about the church that we talking about,
Yeah, we all talking about the same.
Huntington Park area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. No, let's call it out.
Yeah.
Ford Memorial. But let's say
Yeah.
what it was. It was actually, in spite, I wasn't a member there, but
Me
what
either.
I
I wasn't.
respected about it was at whatever point most of us know it as.
Yeah.
And shout out to the legacy of
Yeah.
Bishop Ford.
Because don't get it wrong, Bishop could
And-
preach.
Right. Got it.
Bishop
So
could preach.
That's
Don't
what
get it
that's
wrong.
what
That's where he was going.
Yeah.
Right. So where I'm going with that was, but it was also an intentional culture spot for the cultivation
Yes.
Yeah.
of musical training
Yep.
and talents. It was the area where I didn't see hateration taking place.
Exactly.
It was like the local basketball court. It's like, don't come in here with the ball and be on the 3-man squad knowing you can't dribble.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then take it offensive when we like, yo, get him off the court. It's not personal. It's if you felt as though your chops was there. And if your chops wasn't there, you were free to stand around the Hammond.
Yep.
There you go.
Stand around the drums, stand around the percussion, stand around the bass
Get
guitar
that
player.
proximity.
And get proximity and learn.
Now here's the thing.
Go ahead.
We knew that when we got there, as Darian said, we would get the total experience.
Nice.
Music and word.
Got
It
you.
wasn't just just word, and it wasn't just just music. But when you got there, you knew that you got the total experience at that church, and it was well worth the time of driving.
Yep.
And they would fill the church up with their concerts. They would fill the church up with whoever was coming because they understood.
Yeah.
And they knew this is what will draw.
Yeah.
And the word would definitely keep.
Yeah.
But we have some cats over here that came all the way back off tour wherever they were just to come because that's their home. They ain't need to get no money.
So wait, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I remember this. I was at Ford and Jamar was on keys and Andy Ford was working with him and he was making a point. And Bishop T.D. Jakes adopted that and had Jamar do it at the Potter's house.
I remember that.
as big as that was at the Potter's house, when I saw it, my brain went straight back to the training that you had from a preacher, man of God, that they got word, right? And because I'm seeing Sister Hines said, yes, he could, meaning people were blessed by Bishop Ford's preaching and teaching, right? And because he's a music guy, he was a music guy.
Yeah.
Other church, boy, I'm about to drop something heavy.
Go ahead, bro.
Other churches benefited from Ford.
Yep.
Because whatever you didn't have in your house, there was a safe space. Now, any kind of jacked up stuff that everybody, whatever.
That's a whole
That's
different
an all.
topic.
We not ain't nothing on Ford. It's just in general because we us, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about that, but we talking about the rightful stuff that was there. We all kind of got some kind of training from that.
Absolutely.
Before that, for me, it was BM Oakley, right? So
Another hot spot.
Can I be honest with?
Yeah.
Maybe I was the only one, and anybody my age, y'all can be honest. I was one of the people that had a crush on
Pastor Marie Gardner.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
100%. I mean,
Hold up.
Come on, that was our gospel.
Hold up. Still do. She looks amazing at 70. Shout out to Pastor Marie Gardner.
She looks amazing at 70 or 80. She's older, but my gosh, she is. Oh my gosh, she's wonderful.
Y'all can say whatever y'all want.
Yeah, say whatever.
My wife already know. I said when we was young, boy, we would go down there. You just felt good when she said, "Play something for me, nice and soft, baby."
Yeah.
You was in your glory. You smiling, cheesing, because Maria Gardner told you to play. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I had to.
Look,
Charles.
That was a hot
Let's be
spot,
honest,
man.
y'all. Come
Let's
on,
be
man.
honest.
BM Oakley, that was a hot spot.
So listen, all due respect and shout out to the late Bishop Andrew J. Ford II.
Yes, sir.
Rest in glory.
Shout out.
Yes, sir.
And again, not only the culture, but the effects that the culture for Memorial had on the musicianship, the church musicianship of the city of Philadelphia and surrounding areas. That can't be denied.
Yeah,
that cannot be denied.
Awesome.
But so to tie this up, it's be careful that we're not creating desperation in our music ministries when there doesn't need to be desperation.
Right.
Be careful not to try and fast track your music ministry somewhere where you don't have the ingredients to get it to.
Well, we live in an impatient society, man. You know that, right?
Microwave.
Yeah, microwave, man. That's the way it is now. Nobody wants to take years to build anything.
Yeah.
We're not in that season. Like maybe back in the day, we were willing to take years to build something.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's not like that.
All right, we're gonna try to move on. Shouting out some more watchers. Mom Lee is in the house.
Mom Lee.
Mom, Dad.
Joel Douglas, Mrs. Brister, thank you for joining us.
Grandma B.
Tamika Furby, another.
She know I gotta sing that too.
Another well accomplished, awesome, skilled female musician in our area. Tamika Furby.
You see her?
Yeah.
Tamika Furby.
Yeah.
And how about
definitely.
Trina on the bass though?
Oh yeah.
But that's what I said. Yeah,
I see what you're saying, Jay, because I shocked the heck out of me. I was playing somewhere. I
and
looked
watch
up.
This.
She was the bass player. I said, "Wait, hold up, what?"
And watch this.
I didn't know she played.
And Trina can play keys and organ as well.
Oh my gosh.
Many don't know that.
No, I'm
sorry, Trina. I let go of the secret. Also watching with us, Simone Culver, Kyle Watson, the Mount Olive Baptist Church. Thanks for tuning in. Pastor William J. Scott III. Thanks for tuning in. Keith Edward Hinman. Thank you for tuning in. Mark Gray, big brother, longtime friend of mine. Thanks for tuning in. All right. We are at Red Flags Part 4.
An hour in.
More than an hour in.
Go ahead.
Finally get to the topic.
Make it happen. Go ahead and make it happen.
We are at Red Flags Part 4. And I'm going to throw a monkey wrench.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to throw something that wasn't in our notes. And so, I don't know why this hit me, but let's talk about it.
Okay.
And this is what I want to talk about.
Feel it.
I would like to talk about, in quotations, musicians get a real job.
Wow.
Let's talk about it.
Wow.
So now, this comes from a multitude of areas. All right. Or the reasoning is, there's a lot of reasoning behind why we hear this a lot. Why we hear, musicians, you need to get a 9 to 5 or, but a lot of times, the texture and the tone of it is get a real job.
Right.
And
Very condescending.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
condescending.
That's the
Very
tone.
condescending.
That's the tone, because I think, Jay, you'll agree with me that, there isn't anything offensive about maybe saying, consider, getting, a 9 to 5 or a part-time job. There's nothing offensive about that. But the tone of get a real job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it gets offensive,
Yeah.
because it immediately suggests that not just the musician that plays in church, but it suggests music as a whole isn't a real profession.
Right.
Whether you mean to imply that or not, but that's what the tone suggests. That it's not a real profession at all. And it's interesting to take that tone when, again, the need for musicians is so great.
Yeah.
It's interesting to take that tone, because if the need is so great, again, supply and demand, the demand is great, the supply is not.
Right.
So that means that they're not a dime a dozen as many people would like to suggest. Particularly with the skill set needed.
Right.
Right.
Needed.
Yeah.
That's the key word.
They're not a dime a dozen. So yeah, it's interesting to take the tone that, it's not a real profession. All right. Now, those who have been with us for many episodes, you've heard us talk about not using church, even if you're a musician, even if you are someone that runs a music ministry for a church. You've heard us speak about not using the church as maybe your only source of income. Even sometimes maybe not using it as your primary source of income. Think of it more as a supplementary source, which is that goes along the lines of just what am I looking for? Financial literacy.
Right.
That goes along those lines. But here's where I really want to go when it talks about musicians get a real job. Last week we had our brother Henry, who, he doesn't play, but he runs his church's music department. And he also expressed that he works full time. At the same time, he also expressed that he puts 3 days or more into preparing for his rehearsals and then getting his groups prepared for Sundays. Now, I ain't got the greatest math, but 3 days out of 7, that's almost half the week.
Exactly.
And I know some people are going to interpret that as, he really meant, an hour or 2 each day. Well, I'm here to tell you, no, that's not what he meant. And you can ask him that when he come back, and I'm sure he'll confirm. No. That's not what he meant at all. So the whole idea, or the I guess the framework I want to discuss with you, Jay, in terms of those who say musicians need to get a real job, and even talking about those who may suggest musicians to also look into getting a 9 to 5. Now, most of us know that there's not a lot of 9 to 5 in the music field, unless you choose to be a music teacher. But outside of a music teacher, there's not really 9 to 5 as it relates to music, on the job market. So let me pose this question to you, Jay. All right. For the church that, let's say, they have a decent culture, and they are, let's say, their standard of how their worship experience would like to be is along the lines of a production, is along those lines. All right. And you're in the conversation with the pastor, with their team or whatever the case. And we're at the point in discussing finance. We're at the point in discussing compensation. Now, we're not going to really get into a whole lot of numbers, but here's the question. The question is, and let me try to put as much details around it so that you can work with it. So, okay, like I said, culture's pretty decent. Let's say, they have not tried to build your own team. All right. They have one service a Sunday. All right. Let's say 2 rehearsals out of the week. Maybe you got to rehearse a praise team, and you got to rehearse a choir. All right. And then let's say, because we're talking on the lines of productions, then, or production type, then we know there's at least a 3-piece band. All right. And so now they're asking, okay, we're looking to possibly bring you in to run things. All right. If they were to ask, what do you need altogether, which would include the compensation? Let's, I guess, dialogue about that in terms of how your response would be in that situation. Membership, let's say membership is around like 600 or 700.
Okay.
On roll. They see about 400 a Sunday. All right. So again, let's just kind of talk through, I guess, a conversation. I would be, the pastor, and then you would be the person that the church is looking to hire.
Okay.
So based on some of the things that we've talked about, what would you need to consider coming on board?
Well, if you're saying that they didn't try to build my team for me, they already have musicians, and they already set up rehearsals with the choir. I'm basically coming in on their schedule, right?
Possibly, yes.
So what would I need? What, as in compensation, or what would I need as a whole?
Well, I would say I'm going to leave that open to you to position it how you feel like it needs to be positioned. For instance, if you wanted to position just your compensation, or you saying, listen, I probably need a specific budget because there's 1 or 2 people I'm bringing on with me. I'll leave that open-ended to you.
Yeah, more likely if I don't know, if it's a new ministry that I've never been to, let's just say I'm for instance, I'm interviewing, and you're in California.
Okay.
So I don't know anybody in your church.
Yeah.
I don't know any of your musicians. It's different than being around here. You be like, oh yeah, I know so and so. So I don't know anything about your ministry, and you want to bring me in.
Yep.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. That's a good place to start.
Okay. And so the first thing I would ask for is the church's music manual, because I would want to see the rules and the regulations of how the music ministry is ran.
Yeah.
That's just me, because I don't know your ministry. Now it's different if I'm around here.
Yeah.
And I can say, okay, I know how they have service, but I just flew here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back and forth with you.
Okay.
So at the present time, we don't have a music ministry manual. The last few people that have been in the leadership role, they have kind of really just run things from a Sunday standpoint. You know, they just made sure they were here on Sundays, here for rehearsal, but we never really wrote out any guidelines or anything like that. So that's likely to be open for you to develop it and put that stuff in place.
Okay, so then my next question would be, do you plan to put me in housing? Because remember, I'm here from Philadelphia, so I need housing as well, because obviously I can't commute. So
very good point, but let's just put that to the side for
okay.
now.
Okay. So,
Let's just let
so
Get it
where are you
right,
trying to
Jay,
stick
like,
to?
yo,
No, because I'm asking.
where I'm gonna stay at. Like,
right.
yeah, absolutely.
So just put me where you want me to be, bro.
Yeah. So all right, instead of this being out of town, let's make, for example, that this is some driving distance.
Okay.
You know,
whoa,
where
Darian, stay there.
stay out of town.
No, stay. You can stay out of town.
Okay.
Y'all can keep going because we know someone personally that was the situation.
Yeah.
What needed to be in place is, okay, let me just insert this.
Go ahead.
What's my experience to answer Darian's question? Right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm just somebody that everybody says is the dopest organist in Philly, and I play for all the big preachers when they come in town at Sharon or E9, whatever, you know, call him up, let him back up the preacher from out of town. TD Jake's coming in without his musician, put him on the organ. Everybody wants him to play for Kim Burrell, whoever, right? Got it. But do that mean I know how to do what, let alone Jay and or combined or individually, Jay and Darian do at their churches on Sunday?
Yeah.
Or am I just that dope?
Yeah.
We all love Corey Henry. He's the bomb.
Yeah.
But I can't vouch and say that he actually would know how to be what Austin Woodland is at E9.
Yeah. I got you.
I'm going to say that. I'm just saying.
Right.
So
Exactly.
therefore, is it because he's Corey Henry that we say, oh, he's worth that? Or what specifically do we need? So back to your point, Darian.
Okay.
And then the person you saying out of town, I know a person that was out of town.
Yeah.
And their whole movement was based on, well, you want me to move here.
Yeah.
This is my full-time job. Do I need to get a job if I'm considering this?
Right.
And I agree with what you're going to pay me, but the cost of living is higher than what you're paying me, and blah, 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 blah.
So
I
how
got
does
to
that
make
work?
decisions
Right.
here.
Yeah.
So what we doing here, and are you going to back down off of what you need me to do to meet up with that? Because my main concern is my household.
Yeah.
Right.
And if my mortgage is this, cost of living is that, cost of living is that, on paper, if I got a wife like Tina or Enon, they saying, see that number there?
Yep.
I don't care how you do it, that's what need to happen.
Yep.
And if the church number don't meet that number, what you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
And then do you have the time to do it, still be my husband and still be the daddy?
Yep. Yes. Because at the end of the day, you can't work all 7 days.
No, you cannot.
Y'all take it back from me.
You
I
cannot.
like it.
But so all right. So let's put the housing back in. So all right, let's make that move. All right. So no, we are definitely, as a church, we are definitely prepared to offer, at least a feasible housing package.
Okay.
Now, of course, that can go one or two ways.
Right.
I do want to. I guess I want to kind of get to the compensation, and then the how you plan on kind of structuring things in terms of your team,
Okay.
since they haven't developed a team.
So my next question would be, what is your budget for your music ministry?
Yeah.
Because every pastor has a budget.
Yeah. So, and that's the key, because even putting aside the housing, we've asked and answered 4 questions, and none of them were about your specific pay.
Right.
We've asked and answered 4 separate questions, and none of them was specifically about your pay. All right. And because the reason I needed to get there when we talk about musicians get a real job is because if all of this has to be a part of hiring, again, someone to run a music ministry.
Exactly. You got to be there.
If all of this conversation is a part of that, then clearly we need to rethink this whole musicians get a real job.
Right. Right. But
and again, I'm glad you differentiated just hiring a dope musician versus, again, someone who is going to run and manage a whole vital ministry of the church.
Darren, if you know, you know. There was an opportunity given to a musician, set up beautifully, a job that most people wanted and was like, I wish I had that. This person was more than skilled, but didn't have the
work ethic
to handle the budget that was given based off of reputation. Housing setup, relocation setup, full outline. This is exactly what I need you to do. And that didn't work for that person. There was nothing wrong with that person. It just did not match up.
right.
And then you have to understand, is that for you? Is that for my family? Right? And these are people that got it all set up. Now, here's the caveat. You have, again, I'm doubling down on this. When we create the monster, and then we shift them into a position that's not ran like the person that you have the reputation to be. I personally can't pastor anywhere, because I would be clear and say, I do video production, photography, I'm a music producer, X, Y, and Z. If this is a all-in community church and I live 30 miles away, you can't expect me to be there at every beck and call. The only way I can do that is if you have a ministry team set up. And I'm going to go to a John Maxwell quote, and I think we can incorporate this in the musicians. If you want Jay to come to the church, do you need me to do all the funerals? Do you need me to do the weddings? Do you need me here to play talk music for Bible study? Do you need online music? Right? Outline all of that. And then on the flip side, we got to be honest and say, I can't do that. That's when Jay said about the budget, as a leader that I am, I know how to allocate the budget to still get what the vision is that I have, that God has given me. So I'll know. I just love the way, if I start a church right now, these would be my 2 guys. You know why? Because the relationship that they have, they'll figure it out. It's 3 instruments with keys on there. Y'all gonna figure it out. And the rest of everybody, I don't have to deal with everybody, and I'm gonna know, can I set this up that this is your full-time job? One of them may be able to say, I'll do it full-time. The other one says, I need part-time. Well, their money not gonna be the same, but my music ministry is gonna be where it needs to be at, because we're kind and clear. And I can trust that you understand the assignment. And if we want to adjust it into something else, you would know to build it so that I can afford to put you on full time.
There you go.
That
Now,
so
let me, if you don't mind,
go.
Let me just clear something up. The reason why I asked about housing is because if I have to be there, obviously I need to build. Now, here's the thing. This is the part that I wanted to get to. If I'm going to be here, playing is the least of my worries. I can play already. That's not why you hire. That's not why you're hiring me.
Build it, bro.
That's the least of my worries.
Build it.
Yep. That's the easy part.
Yep.
What you want to know is, do I have strong administrative skills?
Yep.
Can I run this? Can I handle conflict?
Yeah.
What do I do if someone quits on Sunday morning? Can I handle it without it being noticeable?
Yeah, that's it. You know,
I tell pastors
That's
all the
a lot, but
time,
go ahead. I
I
got you.
am an investment. Playing is the easy part. What you want to know is, can I handle the music department without you even having to get involved? And all you have to do is preach.
There you go.
Ugh,
Because
I love
watch
it.
this. If you guys remember, I asked a question last week. I said, are we more focused on what a person can do versus what they can bring?
There it is.
Because watch this. Watch this. You pay somebody based on what they can do. You give them the budget based on what they can bring.
Right. Because if you're really in this, you have to manage a budget. It's not about just pay.
Yeah.
That, not pay and play. That's the easy part.
Yeah. And again, that's the common lens. So because that's the common lens, it gets back to what y'all brought up about expecting one person to always be there every time the doors are open. That's the lens that we really got to start to move away from, particularly in larger structures. We're not suggesting that this is every structure, but in the larger structures, you have to move away from that lens that because this person makes this amount, that they should be here every time the doors of the church is open.
Now,
But that's the common
concept.
lens.
Here's the thing. Let's just say your pay is $70,000 a year. The person that just pays their tithes on Sunday and comes Sunday morning, they see you on Sunday morning. That's all they see. So in their mind, they're like, why don't they got a real job? We're paying $70,000 to a guy that only, is able to go up there and play on Sunday. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't see the work behind what goes on during the week. You only come on Sunday and you know that what you're hearing is amazing.
Yeah.
But you don't know the work that goes behind that.
And let's also not forget this part, okay? Most times, the person with that position, who many times is someone on the finance board or a deacon or something like that, when they have that position of, well, we pay him this much, just to, again, there's a preconceived notion that we're overpaid.
Already from the get-go.
There's a preconceived notion that we're overpaid. So now what do? You spend every chance you get trying to justify to yourself why that person makes that, why the church is paying them that much money, and then try to poke holes. Don't let the smallest thing go wrong during service. I mean, we pay you too much for stuff like that to happen.
And all you're doing is moving your fingers.
Gentlemen, let me impose something on y'all. Keep us here.
Oh,
Songwriter, producer, experienced for over 20 years in music ministry and stuff. But let me say this, because we all would love to be on a beautiful record, hits #1, blah, blah, blah. I'm bringing all this up, shouting out all of my Philly and tri-state area musicians that have contributed to even my success and needing them from a Derek Hodge to Terry Tribbett to Kevin Arthur, right? Just to name a few. Jermaine. Here's the thing, y'all. when we were doing production, shout out to all my guys, Carvin, Ivan, Vidal, Dre, Darren Henson, Jazzy Jeff, James Poyser, Victor Duplay. When we, studio people, as the producers, we would call in skilled musicians to a record that we did for a well-known artist. When you get production credit and production and publishing royalties, that states that you sat through the whole care of the song.
Yes, sir.
From beginning to end into beginning. That means that you cared more about adding your lick to it, getting your check, and leaving it. So you didn't LCL this situation. No. You didn't add a lick, get your check, and leave the situation.
Yeah.
When you left, we still were enduring the hardship, the trials, the ups and downs of it. Why is church that much different when you think about the production of ministry? Because if we are to be fruitful and multiply, if we are to bear fruit, that gives the word production into play. If you put production into play, and as we say, this Easter weekend, right? Resurrection Sunday, most churches are going to be criticized, and I'm not picking a bone, but it's because they're doing a production. And in that production, right? Every Sunday is production because you are producing and you are bearing fruit. You are planting seeds. And if you are on the front line, here we go, Jeanette. If you're on the front line of ministries, are you in production or are you just adding a lick to the track and leaving with a check? If that's what you're doing, let it be known you cannot expect producer royalties. God, I'm preaching up in here. You can't expect producer royalties and bonuses and ASCAPs and BMI from church if you only just adding a lick on the track. I'm done right there.
Very true.
Just want to shout out some more watchers. Let's see. Here we have Brian Robinson, Charles Eric Robertson Jr., Terrence Gilmore Jr.,
Terrence,
Jordan Hammond, Courtney Gray, John Turner, Latia Douglas, Rob Poles, Stephen Garrick. Thank you all for tuning in. Did I miss anybody? I think that was everybody. So we are going to attempt to close out Red Flags next week. Which would be part 5. And next week, it's going to be a little rough for the musicians and the music crew. Because next week is going to be, what do you bring?
Wow.
What do you bring?
Get ready.
Again, we focus a lot on what we can do. But there is a large segment of the musician community that are requesting compensation on the level of managing and running a department, but are unable to bring culture and structure. So next week it's gonna be a little tight, but what do you bring? Again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for adding to the conversation with all of your comments. Next week, same time, same bat channel. I'm D Brister.
J Morris.
Reverend Juice, take us away.
What do you bring? I like that. Can you just preach on that a little bit? He said, what do you bring to the situation?
That's what I missed. Sabrina Kaysen Gilmore, thanks for tuning in.
Sabrina, good to hear from you. It's I'm excited for next week, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
What you gonna throw in here? What do you bring?
It's gonna be good.
What do you bring?
Good Lord, Darren, why'd you start there to leave it there? You understand what I'm saying?
You know I'm Captain Cliffhanger.
That's gonna be crazy.
You are Captain Cliffhanger. So what do you bring? People, thank you for joining us. My girl was in the comments say, Enon, look, I done told you. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you could come around 420.
A mess.
Oh God!
Shout out to the wonderful Sharon, Darian, and E9 Bristol.
Man, look.
We gonna
Pels
leave
ain't
on
no
that.
good.
Yeah, we going.
Pels ain't no
You
good.
come on and get you some coffee. We leaving out right here, y'all. All right, we gonna start this song, and can you stop here? I'm gonna stop here because I'm gonna shout out my girl because she's in the comment section, and I just had it, and I'm trying to find it, and it's over here because I like to play music when I leave out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that music that I like to play, listen at this. If y'all didn't get this record, go ahead and get it. Tamika Furby. Listen to this.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Jamar Jones on keys. Josh Thomas, I believe, was her producer for the song.
Can y'all mix this?
That's Jamar on keys. Jamar on keys. Wow.
He is major.
The harmonies in this joint too.
Yeah.
You start singing with it. I pray that this thing gets in a movie or something. Like,
Yeah.
He can do it all. His love is amazing.
I think this is one of Angel's favorite songs too.
it just hits you.
She used to play this every day.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
It's a
song got
song
me
that
through
hugs
the
you.
pandemic. Real talk.
Yeah.
This song got me. Vidal produced it. Vidal Davis. Shout out to Vidal
Oh,
Davis.
Vidal was
production.
producer. My apologies.
Can you imagine?
Right. Come on,
The
Janetta.
life
Opening
you
credits.
had with one who knows how to love you. Ooh, he can do it all. I realize the joy in my life you bring.
Sing, girl.
Oh, I recognize you're the source of everything. Oh, I analyze and figured out you're the very best thing. So I'm with you. I choose you.
Y'all turn it up.
Over everything. For you are so pure. Perfect, flawless, wise and flawless. You, I'll do yourself over and over.
That's what I like about
again.
production.
What an honor and a privilege to know you and to hear you and to feel you. Ooh, he can do it all.
Listen.
I realize the joy in my
Backgrounds.
life you bring. Oh, I recognize you're the source of everything. Oh, I analyze and figured out you're the very best thing. So I'm with you. I choose you.
Here we go.
Over everything, for you are so pure, perfect, flawless, wise and flawless. You,
Sing.
I'll do yourself over and over again. What an honor and a privilege to know you.
Yo, there's some
and
vocal skill here, girl.
hear you and to feel you.
Listen.
Ooh, he can do it all. He can. He can do it. He can do it all. Do it all. He can do it all. Do it all. Do it all. He can. He has answers to your questions, solutions to your problems. He can do it all.
This is like a
Can
worship
do
song. for me, bro.
everything.
Absolutely.
That's where you can be down.
He can do it all. Oh, he can do it all. Oh.
I'm done, y'all. Love you, girl.